So I got the Nintendo Switch 2 so you don't have to. What I'd say if I wasn't a huge Nintendo fanboy, but even removing my fanboy nature, I gotta admit, the console is exactly what I've wanted for more or less the past 4 years. The thing is with the way Nintendo is, they usually always try to massively innovate, and while I don't think the Wii U was a bad console, if anything it was a better version of the Wii, unfortunately the general public assumed it was just an add-on to the Wii and it crashed massively. And then the Switch came out and people were like, oh, it's a new console. No matter what, as long as they just slap a number 2 on it and just give me a more powerful Switch, I'd be a happy camper. Yeah, I'm like, do I love the price? Not really, but hell, everything's more expensive, so I'm not really going to associate that exactly as a Nintendo problem, though the game prices, it's a little different. The thing is this console, I would be a damn dirty liar if I said it wasn't mostly what I want. There's some nitpicks I have about it, but one of the things that really makes this feel like a worthy upgrade, as someone who's been running the base level Switch since it was released, I've been impressed with games running decently well that, like, I mean, the Xenoblade Chronicle games as an example, I'm surprised they were able to exist on the Switch as is. And despite stuttering and some issues with the open world Zelda games, still pretty impressive. The thing is this Switch, they undersold how much better games are just gonna run. Like, this Switch is supposedly like 10 times more powerful than the base level Switch in terms of the first generation, according to Nvidia. The idea that I can plug in a game without an update, mind you, like Xenoblade Chronicles X. I played a little bit on the base Switch, but I was like, Switch 2 is going to come out. Hopefully it will just naturally perform better. Like, that game is like buttery smooth now. Like, yes, it's still locked to 30 FPS because they haven't patched it to go up to 60, but the fact that that game just doesn't, it's like upgrading your PC. Just games naturally feel better, and the fact that my whole library is just naturally there is great. I've tried a lot of different things. I've tried, obviously, the new Mario Kart. I've also tried the Welcome Tour. Welcome Tour should have been bundled in. Like, it's unacceptable that they charge you 10, 15 bucks for that, but it is a legitimately good demo to show you how the console works. And if they would have bundled it in like Wii Sports, a lot of people would get enjoyment out of it. So I just want to give a few thoughts over everything, both the console, the controller, and why I think it is probably a worthwhile upgrade for a lot of people. But for many, money's tight for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people don't have disposable income. I primarily use my disposable income for video games, so I own all the consoles and stuff. But I'm not like, I don't scoff at people for saying they don't have $500-600 for a new console. So you have to, choose your purchases carefully. And for a lot of people, simply having Mario Kart and a bunch of third-party games right now isn't enough. I really wish they would have launched Donkey Kong Bonanza right away, because that's the game that I really think is going to flex what Mario first-party games can do. But I ain't gonna lie, the new Mario Kart's awesome as well. So let's first talk about Mario Kart. I just want to give that a shout out. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was like the perfect Mario Kart. To me, I looked at it and said there's not much more you can do for Mario Kart other than maybe making it look better, maybe adding some new mechanics, but there's not much you can do. And I gotta admit, Mario Kart World surprised me because not only does it look so much better, not just visually, but also the animation and the expressiveness, they turned Mario Kart into Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like, you're out here grinding on rails, wall riding, you're doing so many cool things. And while at face value, at first I thought this Mario Kart felt slower than the old one. In fact, you just need to get used to the new controls, because once you realize that you can just hold down on your trigger button, your wheels will go flat, and when you release, you'll attach to any wall. You don't have to wait for like specific things, you can do it anywhere. And then the rail grinding is just Tony Hawk, and it's so freaking fun. Even the open world stuff for free roam, I actually like collecting those little P-switches, which are just like little missions and challenges. It's really fun. Knockout Tour is probably the best thing Mario Kart's ever done. It's such a cool mode because basically you go through like six maps straight, so there's no breaks. And each like checkpoint, or most of the checkpoints, are like, okay, only 20 people can pass. 14, 12, 8, whatever, right? Up until, obviously, only there's one winner. And the idea that if you don't enter in that number, so say it says only 8 people can get into the next race, mind you, it's a continuous race. If you're 9th, the match is over for you, but if you at least manage 8, you get to keep racing to the next checkpoint. I think it's just such a cool idea. In general, though, like, they did surprise me. Like, at face value, people are going to say, oh, it just looks like another Mario Kart. But once you really get your hands dirty with it and you start seeing the tricks people are out here bouncing off of trees, wall riding, and they're doing skips I didn't think were possible. Like I feel like a child watching my parents try to teach me how to do things. Like, I am a goddamn noob in this game, but it's really fun. Welcome Tour, I don't have a whole lot to say. I just wanted to dabble in it just so I could be like, hey, is it worth the money? Like, no, it's not worth the money, but as a free demo, I think people would have absolutely vibed with it. There is some fun things, and honestly, I did learn a lot about the Switch in terms of it, but yeah, like, that's a goddamn disgrace. I'm more upset with Welcome Tour being a priced product rather than an add-on than the general pricing of a lot of the other stuff, I gotta be honest. But the Switch, like, there's gonna be some people who are like, oh, the Switch isn't innovating. Like, it's not, but what we wanted was a more powerful Switch. They did add some gimmicks. The fact that now your Joy-Cons can be a mouse, and there's no, like, weird transition. You just detach your Joy-Con and you put it can be on your leg. It has a very good sensor and it's now a mouse. It's a really cool idea, and I think for certain FPSs, especially like Metroid, or if you're playing Doom or whatever, I think it would be a really cool addition. Now, obviously I'm more of a controller guy, but I think it's a cool idea, and honestly the Welcome Tour was kind of a interesting way to learn a bit more about that. The new Pro Controller, which I do have here, this thing is awesome. It has a really nice texture to it, so it's very easy to... It doesn't feel like it slips and slides. The Joy-Cons are good. The D-pad's probably one of the best D-pads I've seen, and obviously you got the programmable buttons back here. Very cool stuff there. But yeah, like, I wanted to dabble in as much as I could with the Switch in terms of, you know, the accessories. I didn't get a camera or anything like that. That's not really my jam, so you'll have to look at other people. But the big thing I can say is that I can already get a taste with the physics engine and stuff with Mario Kart. They, like, yeah, Nintendo was able to push things with their first party. I don't know how they accomplished some of the things on how underpowered the Switch was. Having like a 10 times version stronger Switch is going to be really cool to see what they do, but most importantly, you have games like Cyberpunk running damn flawlessly on this thing. So like third party, it's going to be cool to see what they do with that as well. The thing is like, yes, it's not perfect, but nothing will ever be perfect. I think the overall console price, I'm not really overly mad at. The game pricing is dumb as hell. We're in a world where Expedition 33 can come out for like 40 bucks. Like, yes, I have the disposable money. It's not gonna make me lose sleep at night, but I don't like it either. And I think for those who have multiple hobbies and they have to consider like, well, maybe I buy a game once in a while, but I also buy books, I go to concert, you know, it all adds up. So it's like, I understand the frustration there, but in terms of just like, is this what the next Switch should have been? Yeah. I mean, I immediately hooked it up. It was identical to hooking up as the first Switch was. And I immediately could start playing my old games. And while yes, there is a lot of games with dedicated patches that immediately make the games look better, even games without patches are running significantly better, which is perfect because it shows that just like, you could probably plug in any goddamn game for this thing and it's gonna look good. Like, I'm liking it. I really am. I think the Switch 2 is delivering what it needs to. Obviously, we're only a week in. Could be some tech issues first round of the console errors, but I mean, I think I read something like it's rumored that this thing has broken the record for most consoles sold in a week. I think it's like 3.5 million. This console is going to be huge, and I think, you know, anyone who was hoping this would be a Wii U situation, they say down with Nintendo, is going to be sorely disappointed. This thing is going to sell like hotcakes, and I think they did it smart by making sure there was an abundance of Switch. You can walk into a lot of stores and buy it, not because it's not selling, but Nintendo packed the shelves with these things. So yeah, should you buy the Nintendo Switch 2? You got to ask yourself this. Do you enjoy playing your Switch? Do you play it a decent amount? And even if you're not necessarily in for Mario Kart, do you just want your general Switch games to perform better, and then when Switch games come out that you're interested in, you get those as well? I would recommend it. It's not like you're just it's not like the first Switch where it's like, okay, there's this game, but I don't really care about it. And then you have to wait for a Zelda or a Mario, whatever it is. Like, all of your Switch games are naturally going to feel better. There is one setting I would recommend. The HDR is good, but you want to make sure HDR is only on for compatible games, because otherwise things will look a little weird because it'll do that fake HDR shit that's not really that great. That's my opinion of this. If you have the money, you like the Switch, you're already playing games, your natural games are going to feel better, and the new games they're making look amazing, and Mario Kart, it does feel really, really good. If you're the type of person who's super casual, you could stick to the first Switch for a bit. and you'd be completely fine to do so. It's still a great console if you ask me. It's my personal favorite console. But yeah, like, is it a bad console? No. Is it overpriced in many ways? The console, maybe not, because, like, every console is, like, roughly this price anymore, and I think for the functionality you get. But games, absolutely. But everything's just so much more, like, the same stakes I've been buying for years are way too much anymore, but it's the way the world is. It doesn't mean you can't criticize things for being expensive, but it's just like, I just see the world sucks anymore. There's very little that gives you value anymore. But yeah, that's my opinion. Switch, great sequel to the console. They should just keep probably doing Switch 3, Switch 4, Switch 5. Do the PlayStation approach. It makes it less confusing for the average consumer, and that's why they slap the giant 2 everywhere. But yeah, if you're the type of person, you gotta be a little more cautious with your money, or if you're just the type of person who's not, like, super into Switch games, you could probably wait for the next Zelda if you really need to. But if you're like me, you love the new shiny toys, and you wanted to play your old games better on top of playing the new stuff, this is great, and I'm very excited for the new Donkey Kong. I'll probably make a video on that when that drops, but yeah, I'm liking it. So, I bought the Switch so you didn't have to, but I am here to say that if you got the funds, maybe you might want to buy it too. But you let me know what you thought, whether if you've been eyeing the Switch too, or if you have been dabbling in it like myself. What did you think of the new console, and what games are you most excited for currently? Obviously, I think everyone's looking forward to a new Mario, a new Zelda, but that Donkey Kong game looking mad fun. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and hey, we also have the Patreon. You want to support my work even further. So until next time, everyone, please take care, and you'll have a good one.